saying, Sir John. Like for instance, one of our viewers here, Mr. Stephen Bartholomew, I know him pretty well. You know, back in the days when I lived in Trinidad, and he made a statement here: life skills support is essential. And I think that is what you're talking about there, that you guys were doing at Liverpool, really giving these kids a foundation to build upon, outside the box thinking about, you know, treating them as human beings or not just soccer players. You are human being first, and we need to give you that foundation to develop you, mind, body, and soul. So when you reach in that arena, you will be more equipped for it. That is along the line you were saying, Sir John.
Yeah, I think up to the age of 18 in the professional clubs, the staff at the academy are a bit more sort of like teachers, if you like, looking at the big picture, not just soccer.
Yes.
And so I used to say to some of the players when they would make it through to the first team before they left to go to train with it was a different site. It was 4 miles away, and it was a different site then. They would move to go and work with the coaches there. I'd say to them, look, not to be nasty, but the coaches that you're going to work with now, they just want you to perform in the game. They're looking to find the best way to get you to win a game for them as the coach. We all like winning games, but at the academy, we had a bigger picture. We didn't just see you as someone to go and win us a game, because sometimes you wouldn't be selected, not because you're not playing well, but someone else would have a turn. So we would mix it up a bit more. Now, at the first team, they could play the same 11 week after week after week. And if you're not in that 11, that's tough. We would have more of an open situation to look after the player and see the long-term development, and not just in terms of soccer. It would be as a person as well. The education side, the psychological side, the physical side, and things like nutrition, stuff like that. You know, that we would give them advice on all the areas, and keep a check on them. And in a way, moving from the academy to the first team, the issue for the players was they would lose that person who was looking after them. Not like a dad or something, but someone who cared about them more than just as a soccer player.
As a big brother kind of support system
Yeah,
around the kids. I think the academies to around the world need to really go back to that, Sir John, where we are academy and we are not focusing with the younger kids on winning. Not that it's not important. Winning is important, but I think what is more important is to develop this kid holistically. That is important, where we could develop these kids and teach them the right thing so they could go on to be not just good or great soccer players, but better human beings.
yeah,
And I
good
think what,
people.
yeah, good people. And I think one of the big issues we're having now is that we have, you know, a lot of people who are coaching, a lot of coaches in the different academies now, their focus is just plain winning. And they would have kids sitting on the bench for as long as possible because they want to have a certain team out on the soccer field, which is damaging to the guys who's on the field and also damaging to the kids that is on the side of the field. And that they are not playing and they don't have that opportunity to develop. And also to the kids on the field too, it's damaging to them too, because they are there fighting, scraping, anything that they can do to win. And it's not always, and it's not supposed to be at that age group about the W. Not
Yeah,
supposed.
of course. The other thing, Anthony, as well, is sometimes we'd have no pressure on the coaches to win games, but okay, everybody I know in soccer likes to win. We
Yes.
all like to win, but it's we've got to realize that the job is a development process, long-term development, and sometimes you might well see a player. Say you've got the under 15s or 16s, something like that, and you might have a good player and you think, well, if I keep playing him, I might win games. But actually, the one who makes it through to the first team could be not the best player at that age.
Yes.
He's yet to develop. There's still development to go. Some of them who develop early, the others catch them up. So what we're after is, okay, we like winning games, but what I like most of all is to pass players through to the reserve team and the first team and say, there you are, there's some good players. Use them in our club. And that's the benefit of seeing, whether it be from like Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher through to Trent Alexander-Arnold now, that we've seen those players come through. Of course, you end up adding to that with some signs. They can't all be local players, but when you do get a local player through and you've had them from the age of 8, you feel fantastic. And I used to say to the players, particularly about Steven Gerrard, and I say, okay, when he played in the youth team and he played his first game in the youth team, do you know how he got on? And they go, no. And I say, no. And probably he doesn't, because it doesn't matter. It's not important now. Okay, a first team result is, we know that. The coach, the head coach, lives or dies by it. But that's to come later.
Yeah.
We'd like you to want to win, but it's not the be all and end all.
So true. And I must give you kudos, Sir John, along with your staff who work with Steven Gerrard, because you can see the qualities in him now as a player. You saw the qualities in him, and now what, as a manager, I believe he's with the Rangers in Scotland, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right, he is, yes.
And he is doing wonderful work with the Rangers. In the European soccer, also in Scotland, he's doing some wonderful work with the Rangers. And you could really look back while you're saying this, and it's flashing in my mind. You could see the character of the person. He's not a player that you would have seen in the newspapers for bad reasons. He was not a player that you would have seen in the magazines for any bad reason. If you really look back from what I've seen of Steven Gerrard, he's a player you would only really make out when he's on the field playing.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was a standout when he was playing. But he's one of the players that you could look back on and say, okay, that is a player I would like my son to be like, or my daughter to be like, or my nephew or niece to be like, because that is a player you could see he was groomed coming up and developed properly, and you can see what he is doing now, and you can see that winning qualities about him since his playing days to where he's at today, because you guys laid a wonderful foundation down. Yes.
Yeah, I think, Anthony, and I hope it happens. I'm not saying that our current head coach will leave. He might become the German national team manager, who knows? But I think someday Steven Gerrard will be the manager at Liverpool. We all hope that.
I wouldn't be surprised. And I think he would be a future manager of the English national team too.
No, he's not going there. He's staying at Liverpool.
You don't want him to manage England,
No, he can do that as well.
Yeah, I get the feeling, because you're seeing what he's doing, huh? He's very quiet about it, but you're seeing his work is speaking volumes.
Yeah.
His work is speaking volumes. And I would not be surprised, because England now are giving a number of their younger managers the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised, Sir John, if they decide, hey, Stephen, we're going to give you a crack at it, but you're hoping that Liverpool, give him a crack first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously Jurgen Klopp's doing a great job, and but for instance, if the German national team job became available, who knows? He might be keen on that, and then there would be a vacancy. I don't want to create a vacancy, just if maybe.
But you wouldn't mind if there's a vacancy.
Well, the thing that gets me though, Anthony, is they don't seem anymore to have this succession plan. Now, in the past at Liverpool, we were very good, from Bill Shankly, the next one, Bob Paisley, Joe Fagan, right the way through. The Liverpool staff stayed with person who was the assistant. And what was good about that was they didn't then, like when Bob Paisley or Joe Fagan took the job, they didn't get rid of the other players because they were their players as well. There wasn't a big upheaval. Now, when a manager leaves, the new one comes in, gets rid of those players and say they're not mine. He brings his own in and staff. The change of staff is crazy. Whereas the succession planning, so for me, if Jurgen Klopp is possibly going to go, I'd like him to have Steven Gerrard as assistant for a year. To me, this is a sensible plan. Have
Yeah,
him
yeah,
with it
yeah,
as a
yeah,
year, and
yeah.
and then okay, then move on if you want to.
Yeah, I think that is important in all clubs, in all academies too, that you have the younger ones with that sort of inclination, that you could see that leadership quality in them, having them around the coaches, the managers. So someday that they could fill those shoes because they've been very close to the managers. And I think that is really, really needed. And we also, so John, have a question here from Stephen Bartholomew. He was asking a question: at what age does Liverpool coaches encourage players to do a coaching course? Is that something that you would have at Liverpool, where at certain ages you would encourage, your players to get into coaching courses because you see that quality in them?
Yeah, what one of the things we would do is, particularly with the full-time guys, so when they come full-time after the age of 16, they come full-time, we would actually use them as well to go and help with the younger players in the evenings, part-time players.
Mm,
So the ones who would come from school. And so our players would be passing on some of the things that we've given them, if you like. And they would
interesting.
look to do some coaching sessions and get the idea to see if they liked it. But also they were giving back a little bit. Under the guidance of the main coach, they would give something back to the younger players uh, in the club. And that's part of generating this, love of the club.
A culture. You're developing a serious culture there, Sir John, in the club. It's a culture. That's what I look at it as, a culture, because they pass through the system and they graduate through the system. Now the younger ones could look up at them and say, look, these are people that came through the system. And that culture, they could spread that culture back to the guys, because they are not that, in terms of age difference, they are not that older than the kids that they would work with too. So that makes it even better for them, that they can hear the same information coming from the coach and hearing the same information coming from the professional guys who are playing, and they can look up to them. So it's a culture that you're seeing here that you guys were building. And that is why you guys were so successful, over the years, Liverpool being so successful and seeing some of their players going on to do great things in soccer. So John, quite interesting information you shared with us. I know you are 5 hours ahead of me right now in England, so it's about just after 9.
Just after
And
9, yes.
yes, it's just after 9, and I myself haven't been in Europe and spent some time out in Europe. Sometimes I know in certain places that the sun sometimes go down 10 o'clock in the night sometimes. Um, so sometimes you could be tricked. I remember one time being in Germany for a while, and after 10 o'clock in the night, the sun was still up. And I just couldn't sleep when I was in Germany. I couldn't sleep. I just was wondering what is going on here. So I had to pull the blinds and make the room dark
Yeah.
so I could go and sleep, because, after 9, 10 o'clock, the sun was shining. And I was asking them in Germany, what is going on here? Because you have a mindset of how you were brought up from young, the sun goes down at a certain age. Like where I am at now, it's not that drastic as it was there. Like here, 8 o'clock or so, the sun will be going down. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, where I'm at right now, the sun would go down. But back in Germany, 9, 10 o'clock. The sun is now starting to go down. And I am up, can't sleep. So I am pulling blinds in this place to make the room dark so I could rest because I got to get up in the morning. Quite interesting. So, John, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Thank you so much for the wonderful information you shared with us. We have a number of social media sites that is logged on right now. And we just want to thank you so much from the bottom of our heart for spending some time with us. Your encouraging PowerPoint presentation. We have another question here. At what age do Liverpool coaches, okay, it's the same question that we had just now. Just want to thank you so much again.
Great. Thank
for
you.
Being here and sharing your PowerPoint. Very much interested. And to those who are now logging on, what you can do, it's being recorded. So it's going to be going up on my Facebook page, Anthony Roy. It's going to be on my Facebook page. And you can just go, as soon as we cut off here in a little, you can go immediately on my page and you can see the whole PowerPoint presentation. And I would strongly suggest you go and take a look at it. Very, very much interested information of encouragement and developing and challenging yourself to be the best that you could be going forward. So John, thanks again. Thank you for gracing us with your presence and much appreciated. And speak to you soon again and keep on keeping on. And we are hoping that Steven Gerrard manage the Reds again someday. Someone is saying, could that PowerPoint be sent soft copy? Well, you will have to go, Stephen, you will have to go up on my page and then pull it from my page. And when you pull it from my page, you can copy it from the Facebook page. You can copy it from the Facebook page. So John, blessings to you and your family again. And till we see again, much blessings to you and your family. Have a wonderful evening, Sir John. And guests, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being in our presence. And as I said before, please join the group AI Student Athlete Scholarship Academy on the WhatsApp page, because right now is recruiting season in the college and university collegiate level. And I have some information there of coaches that is looking for soccer players who are very much interested in heading out to college and universities. So thank you guys once again.